Ready? All right, good morning, class. My name is Oliver Weah, and I am a 26-year veteran of the middle school classroom.
Yes, and my name is Margo Hinton, and I am about to be, I think, 32-year teacher, health and physical education teacher, loving life, loving all of it too.
Middle school in the springtime, and you are listening to episode 11 of Middle School Madness, a podcast about teaching and things that are interesting to teachers. Today on the show, we are going to be talking about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What does it mean to you? If we could rebrand it, what would we do? And how do you get students to accept each other when all they want to do is fit in and be the same? And then, when we get to the end, right, we are going to, Margo, test your knowledge on middle school FAD
Oh
dances.
God.
With almost 3 decades in there, we're going to find out, have you paid attention to all the dances
Oh no,
that are
this is
going?
not good. I'm telling the audience now, I apologize in advance. You can take my dance card.
No way. So we actually met a week ago or so at Sharon's house, which was great. It is always so awesome to bump into another middle schooler because we've been stuck there for such a long time. My joke is always, one of these days they're going to let me graduate and go to high school, but I don't think that'll happen. And so the conversation of DEI came up because we literally have meetings in the morning where we go and we talk about it. And so the very first question is, what does DEI mean to you?
Well, I'm just gonna. I can be nothing else but truthful, you guys. I'm gonna put it where the goats can get it. DEI, over the course of my career in teaching, has really met a program with very low substance that seems to be a box checker uh, for administrators and superintendents. And I'm sure it's not just in my school, with very little depth. Now, fast forward, DEI now is being used by people to, in other words, let me say it like this. I'm gonna just be real. It's literally being
Say it.
used as the N word now. It's a substitute for racism. So they flip the script with the alternative facts, trying to make us think diversity is not diversity, equity is not equity, and inclusion is not inclusion, like changing the definitions of those words to mean basically an elevation for me of white supremacy culture in not just educational settings, but all settings. So yeah, that's what it is now. And to me, if we really did diversity, equity, and inclusion the way I believe it's meant to be done, kids would be immersed in experiences of other people, cultures, religions, races, so on and so forth. And it wouldn't just be, we learn about something and we're expected to regurgitate information about it. It would be an immersive thing where you can actually have transformative shifts in individually as well as collectively.
Yeah. I mean, I agree in the fact that it's very political, right? You bring it up. I mean, as I mentioned before, you bring it up, people get hostile. They get really angry. They feel that why am I doing this? And that I don't like that. I don't like when I look at my friends and they're like, "Oh, we gotta go there." But like you said, it's just become this horrible thing. But on the same hand, we still got to teach people that others are different, you know, that there are going to be people out there that are different than you, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We got to learn to accept that people are different. But man, is that hard.
Mm.
I wish it could get easier. Because what I loved is in this one meeting, the moment I think people were done being angry, they were just, and we began to talk about basically the environment that we're in, which is this crazy environment. Because we're in the Pittsburgh area, I always feel like it's the confluence of two rivers coming to one. And if that one river was togetherness, you're trying to get middle schoolers in particular to literally not only fit in, but also understand that people are going to be different because they're so cruel to each other. And when our group of faculty began to talk about it, then the conversation wasn't political. And it was fun because you really had people now sharing ideas, talking about ideas, understanding that everybody in the room was different as teachers. Everybody saw the world differently. And how do we take that understanding and then give it to our students
And
so that they understand it as well?
you know what? It's a sign of the times. And honestly, it's centuries of systems that have been created specifically to divide us, and then we fall for the banana in the tailpipe and pretty much, you know, hitch our caboose to the same, you know, what I want to circular conversations, circular situations of division. Like it's like fall for it, and you know it takes somebody that really with self awareness and critical thinking skills to separate from their political, cultural, racial, economic beliefs that really a lot of times have been given to you. Like you inherited those things. And so without critical thinking, that's where we're at. When somebody can say that diversity, equity, inclusion is a racist form of education, like that, you have to change the very definitions of those words in order for that to happen. So yeah, it's wild. And I think I mentioned this when we were talking when we met, that for me, a lot of the things that people have opinions about are not based on their own lived experience. And so my goal is for people, and I say this to parents on open house. I say a lot to parents that other people probably would not say. Just saying. Literally an open house. Like my main conversation is please, please, and pretty please have your children experience other people outside of North Allegheny School District and outside of their own race, culture, and religion. Because until we have those lived experiences, we're going to get the society and the results that we have right now, which is a deeply divided society. And my thing is, listen to people that have lived the experiences. If you have not been pulled over by the police and been harassed, guess what? Don't have an opinion about that. If you have not ever been discriminated against, let's not have opinions about that. If you are not an immigrant, let's not have an opinion about that. Let's listen to the people that have lived the experiences and then base your opinions with a little bit of informed opinion, at least in that knowledge.
And I think it's what you said. It's awareness. Everybody needs to have awareness of who they are, of where they come from. And that could be the hardest thing in the world. You mean you want me to take time and reflect on who I am? And the answer is always, well, yeah, because when you have a better understanding of yourself and your history and how you've interacted in the
Mm-hmm.
world, and then when you go and you listen to somebody else's story, and I like that you said listen. To me, it's like if I had to write a handbook on leadership, number one thing is just listen. Stand there and listen to what people are saying in whatever organization, team, or group you're in. And if you can listen to them, you could probably get them to come together. But listening is such a huge key. And that's where we've gotten to the part where we don't listen anymore. We just want to think that our opinions are our opinions. We're entitled to them. If we shout them long enough, then it's
Comes truth.
truth, you know? And I think because we work in the middle school, I mean, I just remember reading, Mark Twain,
Mm-hmm.
getting a little different, view of the world. And I loved it. And I love the fact that he wrote in the vernacular of the time. And it really gave you a great insight that I didn't have growing up in my suburb outside of Cleveland. And it was nice to get that. And I always liked that. But how we do that as educators is just so hard.
Yeah.
And that's where I think about I like what DEI is trying to do. It's trying to, like you said, get us to listen to each other, get us to accept that we're different, and then somehow, can we come together?
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, well, if that's that seems to be the mission forever. And my dad, who taught in the '70s, a lot even during the Vietnam era, I think he would be rolling over in his grave that nothing has evolved since then. We're still fighting the same fight. That's like, why are we doing this? We should know
I'm on a
better.
mission though. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission.
Yeah, yeah, because then it's like, okay, so I love to. It is that funny game. If you could rule the world or change one thing, as in rebrand DEI to, I don't know, I hate to say it, to make it better, to make it more palatable, to do all the things that I think of everyone has said do, to make the world a better place by understanding others, how would you do it?
See, I feel like you have to now that the naysayers have co-opted the language of diversity, equity, inclusion. You have to go about it a whole different way. You literally almost have to move away from those words. And like I was saying a little bit before, I believe the best way to teach those things is to provide opportunities for students to see, hear, and experience other cultures, races, so on and so forth. So, like I mentioned to you before, the way that I'm doing it is I created this ambassador program where the students at our middle school, there's 27 students that signed up to be ambassadors for our middle school. And then we partnered with a city school. I teach in a suburban, predominantly white, affluent school district. And we partnered with a Pittsburgh City School, charter school, all African Americans. We came together for an entire school day at my school and around art, music, uh, discussion, mindfulness. They had all these opportunities, as well as it was a day where we celebrated, being anti-tobacco and vape free. So they got to
Wow.
experience like so many different things together, develop friendships. Left in our school, I should say this too. Our ambassadors, I think we had one African American student, um, maybe 3 to 5 Indian, a few Asian students, and the rest were white. And so that's diversity. That is diversity where you get a group of black kids, 25 black kids coming to our school, spending an entire day together, having an experience together. And now we go to their school in the next month or so, and we're going to do some similar activities. And then the third thing we're going to do is come together and talk about what we learned and how it has shifted our perspective and where we go from there. That's how you do it. That's my rebranding, to actually live it and not just talk about it.
Do you do any kind of like post survey before the two schools come
Oh,
together
so great
or anything
question.
like
So
that?
before the two schools came together, we did two virtual meetings where we met via, I think it was Google Meet, and we did icebreakers together. And then sort of like we're doing now, we asked different questions that they could come around together and talk about, breakout rooms. And so that's sort of how they met before they got there. And the reason why I had a mindfulness expert come is because I understood that, there may be some trauma on either side in terms of their expectations of what they would see or what they would hear, what they would do. And so we wanted to give the kids tools they could use throughout the day if they did have something that they, got a little bit of anxiety around. So think that's the way you do it. I can't think of a better way to rebrand diversity, equity, and inclusion except to do it.
And if you had to give it a title, would you stick with the ambassador program? I mean, I like that
I
title.
love the ambassador just because, and what I tell the kids is, you're representing yourself first, your family, and then you're representing this school, right? And so when other people come from outside the school, these are the things that I want you to transmit to them. Like, who are you? Who is your family? And what do you represent? And what can you tell them about our school? So we want you to, you know, convey those ideals in a situation and act basically like an ambassador.
And were they able to do that? Did it take a while? I mean, once you kind of, I always think of every dumb Hollywood movie where it's like the people in the red uniforms are here and the people in the blue, and they don't really want to like mesh together, but it
Well,
takes
I
time.
provided for that. So we first met in the library, and so the rule was there had to be at least two or three ambassadors from each school sitting at the same table. And it was funny because the boys actually gravitated to each other more quickly than the girls did. I was like, this is
Wow,
different. And
that is
right,
surprising.
and then also same concept. Our kids took the kids from the other school on a tour of our school to different parts. We had, they show them our weight room, show them the art area, show them. So they took a whole tour, and it was the same concept. And I think that is really when they got to know each other a little bit better. And then by the time they were done with the tour and late back to where they were supposed to be because they were having so much fun, because you're unsupervised going throughout the whole school. So
Wow, that's a big deal in middle
they
school.
love that. So by the time they got done with that, it was a wrap. I was smiling, all the other chaperones were smiling, and it was just a great thing.
And do you literally I always picture, because I teach TV production, everything's a scene inside my head. Like that scene where you see two kids from different sides just sitting there and, sharing a Snapchat or being like, wow, this is so cool. I get to talk to you. Very common things.
Yes. Okay. So there were a couple incidents where I was just like, oh my God, like this is so amazing. And one was when one girl from our school was sort of sitting next to the girl from the other school, and they were just talking about, the best things about their each other's schools. Like, this is what I like about my school. I was like, this is like a real conversation. This is like amazing.
Yeah.
And then by the time the day was over, they were exchanging phone numbers and talking about when they were going to meet up next. Some of the boys had made plans to do something on the weekend. It was wild.
That is, I mean, I guess that's exactly what you want to
That was
have
it.
happen. So now the next phase will be then they come to you to your school
We go to
next.
their school. That was all took place at our
Oh, you're gonna. Oh, that was it. You're okay. So you're gonna go visit
Yep.
their
In the
school.
next couple of weeks, we'll be there. May 17th, we'll be there.
That is so cool. How would you expand this? Like it seems like such a simple thing because all of our districts literally are bordered by other districts. How would you try to expand it if given the opportunity?
It's funny you say that because I can't be in multiple places at the same time. I was on the board of something called the Youth Thriving Summit, which actually takes place this Friday, I think somewhere on Pitt's campus. And
Mhm.
because I was doing so many other things, I'm coaching AU basketball. Of course, I have my teaching, and now I've been working on this ambassador thing. I wasn't able to make all the meetings for that, but that is an expansion of it, where school districts from across the entire, um, I guess, Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania area are coming together for a day where they're going to be in different breakout rooms talking about some of the issues that we're talking about. We're talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, talking about different programs at their school that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, and having really like a think tank on how to expand this thing across all of the schools. And my goal is once I retire, is to be somebody that can build bridges between suburban and urban school districts, again, across Western Pennsylvania, and maybe even beyond. That's my goal, period. So help it expand. And
That is a
part
great.
of it is having some of the kids that are in the program now, well, I'm documenting everything. And so, sort of like a mini documentary that I can present if I'm going to other school districts to say, hey, this is what we can do. This is real diversity, equity, and inclusion in action.
Yeah. That is phenomenal. That is so cool that you went and you got it to work and you got another school to go with you, which I guess brings us to how do you besides like simple icebreakers, which icebreakers remind me of the first day of
Mhm.
school. There's only one way to get to know your students. You got to do something kind
Yeah.
of hokey and funny. But how did you get these students? Because middle school's brutal. I love that my friends say, "Hey, what's middle school like?" I'm like, "It's the same crazy place it was when you left it. You need to have a friend at the end of the day, right? Anybody you can hang out with. Some days your friends will stab you in the back, So the fact that you have gone and done this with middle schoolers is fantastic because you've done, it sounds like, the impossible. You've tried to get them to accept others while at the same time being okay with who
You
they
know what?
are.
I can give you some examples of stuff that I do that's even outside the ambassador program that sort of emphasizes acceptance of others. Now, and you may have heard of this. So, one thing that I do in my health classes, and we did do it as our first ambassador program lesson when we brought the kids together to talk about the program in our separate schools. So, in my school, with just our ambassadors, I did something called a cross the line activity. And basically, the cross the line activity is it's a series of questions. And usually, start off with some that are not really where people would hesitate that to answer, and then other ones get gradually more sort of personal. And basically, what you do is you get all the kids on one side of the room, and you explain to them that number one, this is confidential. Whatever you see or say in this space is confidential. It should not be leave this room. And then the second thing you say is that if you don't feel comfortable um, crossing the line, you don't have to cross the line. So, for example, the first question might be like, I like fruity pebbles. So, boom, somebody crosses the line. Everybody else is looking like, okay, they like fruity pebbles. None of the rest of us do. Then the second question might be like, um, I've I've experienced discrimination. Some people might cross, some people might not. And then another question might be, I'm a child of divorce. I mean, and like I said, you don't have to answer, or you could answer. Um, and so they get, like I said, gradually more personal. And then we do like a debriefing, and we say, like, what did you learn from this experience? And then some of the things they come up with are, hey, I have some things in common with people that I didn't think I did. I thought maybe I'd be the only person that shared this situation. And at the same time, some people have experienced some horrible things that I've never experienced, and I'm grateful for that. So that's sort of a way where you can see, and I tell kids all the time, this might be a daily thing for me. Like, you don't know what people are going through. So you teasing somebody or bullying somebody could be like the straw that just puts them over the top. And now you're somebody that's causing harm to that person. So yeah, so that's sort of one of the things that I do. There's another thing, an activity, and I haven't done it in a few years, but um, the question, we would put kids in like little circles across the gym, 3 to 5 people in a circle, and the statement is, and again, you only respond or participate if you want to, and then if you feel like heart for something that somebody's saying, you can either do your heart, and then there's like the sign like love to you or stuff. Forget what it is, something like that. And the question is, if you really knew me, you would know. And the people fill in like, if you really knew me. And the first time we ever did these circles, the one girl, and I didn't know this, she was like, if you really knew me, you would know that I have this is a white student. I have 3 adopted siblings from Africa. And I was like, wow, never knew it. Another person was like, if you really knew me, you would know that my mother has cancer right now. I'm talking like serious stuff. And so, when you know that kind of stuff about people, you tend to accept them a little bit more.
Because that feeling of knowing that,
Yeah.
you're in the same situation that I'm in, you're going through something that I'm going, it's always been so powerful
Man.
at whatever age. And that's incredible. And so this takes place in a health class?
Back
Is that
then, we did something. I can't remember what it's called. Oh my goodness! You have those advisee programs at the end of
yes.
the day, and I forget what we called it back then. It was advisor advisee program, and so with my group, we met in the gym, and so that's what I did. Broke them into these circles. I saw that I got that idea from somewhere, probably like on a PBS special
Yeah.
or something back in the day. Yeah. So that's one of that's like, yeah, those are a couple things that I do.
That is incredible. which always brings up to me, you want to expand it. How does every class in every subject touch upon this in some way? And that tends to be the
I
$24,000
don't know.
question in education, like TV production. How do you bring this in there?
Mm.
Foreign language. Yes, it's a foreign language, but how do you bring
It,
it in? Even in science, how do you bring
you know
that
what I
in?
would say though? The sad thing is, especially in today's, like you said already, political climate, if you don't have the buy-in from the administrators and the teachers, you know, I could come up with the greatest idea in the history of education, but if you don't have an administrator that's willing to support it, or a school board that's willing to support it, or a teacher that's willing to carry it out, and that's part of the problem, I must say, as well, where you have school boards and superintendents making decisions about what should go on in a classroom when they're not in the classroom and they're not listening to the people that are actually in the classroom. So then when they say, this is the thing we're rolling out or pushing out, and they don't know what that's going to look like because they haven't gotten the input from the people that are actually going to do it, that becomes frustrating to people that, you know, maybe would try something in their classroom. And then people are running scared because teachers are being put in jail in some places for different things. I mean, just
Yeah.
yeah, it's not the greatest climate to figure out how to even. I can figure it out, but we may not be able to implement it.
It's as I said, uh, you know, you could go through any building and you could say stuff like, "Hey, when was the last time a board member came in and observed your class?" Just to like hang out, just to see what their district is like. I always think the assumption is many of the board members have people in the district, but once again, that's an assumption that could get us all in trouble. But it is, they should come and see what's going on. I always think we're the experts in our field. You hang out 30 some years in a middle school, I think you've got your PhD in what's going on, right? You don't stay there and show up and do half a job. You got to put your whole heart into it.
Absolutely.
And it's like they should come in and see what's going on. And I've always thought that the best conversations sometimes for change were the ones that took place in a hallway. When you have a committee, they seem to be very formal and people are very stiff and they hold back. But it's always that conversation in the hallway, maybe because we feel relaxed in the hallway, that it's like, hey, here's a good idea. Here's what I think you should do. I know I've got your ear, board member or superintendent or principal. What about
Mhm.
this?
I really
And those
let me say
moments,
this. I've actually been fortunate with uh, principals in terms of, you know, the things that I have been blessed to be able to do in the schools that I have taught at. So I've definitely been blessed in that way. And even with we have a new principal now, and the stuff that I've done, I've been doing for 20 years. So they were not coming in to tell me differently. So maybe next year, but yeah, this year I was still able to do the things that I'm doing. But yeah, I've always been blessed
well,
with principals that maybe not support in the exact way I would like them to support, but always never telling me no, I can't do that thing. So
right. Hey, you got your ambassador
that's great.
program. You got the grant. You got the money. I love the sound of that. That is really cool. Okay. Are you
Oh
ready
no.
to test your knowledge? Are you ready to test your
I'm no.
knowledge about middle school
Oh
fad
God.
dances?
Okay. Why does that
Okay,
have
here
to
we go.
do with a
Here we go.
dance? But
No, well, I don't know. Well, it's a podcast as far as we know. You're doing it right now. Here we go. I will read you a brief description. You tell me if you know the name of
okay,
the dance. This Korean pop culture landmark features a signature dance that has over 3.5 million views on YouTube. Name that
I
dance.
know that. Oh my God. It's not the Macarena. No,
No, it's not the
what was
Macarena.
that called? What
No.
was that, God?
Name that dance. I will give you the first letter. It starts with a G.
Gangdom. Gangdom.
Gangnam
Gangnam.
Style. Gangnam Style. Gangnam
Oh my
Style.
goodness! I told
Okay.
y'all I was gonna be.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. We'll give you, I don't know. We'll give you, here we go. Next one. This dance became popular through instructional clips made by video creators for the hashtag Watch Me Dance On campaign.
Okay. I'm gonna just
The
tell
cl-
you 100%. I have no idea about that.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna give you
What
one
is
word
that?
and see one word. The word is whip.
Whip? Whip?
Whip.
Mm,
Would you like a
I
second
must,
clue?
yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, the second clue here is watch me nay nay.
Oh, Superman. I think the name of the, I know how to do that. What? I know that dance. What was that called? Superman. What? I literally did this in the talent show. I did this dance in the talent.
You did this
What was
dance
it
in the
called
town.
though?
Okay. It's called the watch me dance.
They
Hashtag
told
watch
me
me
to
dance.
watch out. Lord.
The whip, the nay nay, the watch me nay
Yes,
nay. It
I
could
can
even
do that
it
right
could
now.
even be
I
known.
know that. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
plead the
It could
fifth on
even
the titles of these dances. Well, watch me whip
okay.
and watch me nay.
That's it.
I know it. I did it at the talent show. Okay.
Okay, last one. Last one. This dance became popular after Russell Horan, also known as the Backpack Kid, started posting videos of himself doing it. The clue there is Backpack Kid.
Backpack. Now, you guys, I apologize to the entire audience. Please take my phys ed teacher, and we do line dances and dance every
Oh, come
single
on.
day.
Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is a dance now. Now nobody can see this. I will now stand up,
Doing
right?
I
Okay, I will give you a
I
visual
don't
clue.
know
This is
backpack dance.
horrific. Yes. Wait. No. No. Ready?
Oh, and I'm good at that. No,
What is that? What is that dance called?
I'm
What
not
is that
flossing.
dance called?
What
You
is
are
that? Flossing? What was that called?
ding, 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 ding,
I got it
ding.
right.
You got it right.
I
Margo
can
got it.
floss. Yes, I'm really
You
good
know.
at flossing, you guys. All three dances I am excellent at. The names, I'm just saying, the names. I'm a flosser. I got
See.
a flossing degree. I got a flossing degree.
See? That is fantastic. Well, that's how you know you are a true professional of the middle school. These are fad dancers. You knew
Well,
them all,
after you
right? You
gave
know
me
how to
15 clues, thank you.
but you still got it. You still we're always positive
I
in the
love
middle
it.
school. You
I
still
love
got it, right? Well, as we say, Margo, that is the sound of the bell. It is time to shut down the smartboard, collect all the basketballs, put them into a bag, turn the lights off, and leave the greatest playground in the world, which is our classroom. Margo, thanks for coming on the show
You
today.
rock, you rock, you rock, Oliver. Thank you.
I am so glad you became a teacher. The world needs good teachers. Everybody out there, thanks for listening, and we will see you in the hallway.
That was good. That was good. I can, wait,
Okay,
I gotta show you
show
I
me
can
because I
floss.
can
Hold
never
on.
do it. I have tried.
Oh, I'm good at floss. Hold on. I
Okay,
gotta
here we go. Here we go.
I'm like a major flosser. Oh,
You got it. Oh. You got it. You got it. You got the rhythm. You got everything. Oh.
whoa.
Oh my God, that was
Yes, you're a
hysterical.
witness. You know it.
I'm a witness. We now know. We now
You're a
know.
witness now. You're a witness now.